Let's talk about somebody else that is very beloved here in Chicago and across the country, Michelle Obama. Her memoir, Becoming, is released today, and many think it'll be in high demand all year long. In fact, she happens to be in Chicago tonight with a woman named Oprah? Is that how you pronounce
Oprah.
it? Oprah. Okay, thank you. Yes, I think we've heard that name before. They'll be at the United Center for Michelle Obama's book tour. One of the many anticipated topics that they will be discussing is about her marriage and how she and former President Barack Obama used counseling to work out their differences. Usually counseling is something that people can look down upon. Are you surprised that the former First Lady was so open about this, guys?
I think it's really cool that she was really open about that, because you never think like Barack and Michelle, like they are couples goals to the core, right? But I think it's awesome that she's opening up and saying, we have to work at this. We have to go to counseling and we have issues, and no matter who you are, they might seem untouchable to us, but they are still working hard to make their relationship a good one. So I think it's a really good example.
I love this because we talk about so often changing the stigma surrounding counseling and therapy and going to get that help when you need it.
Yeah.
And even sometimes when you're not necessarily in an emergency, but you still need to just make sure you're okay, or to express whatever it is that you have on your heart. And the fact that they're doing it and talking about it and sharing it, I am 100% for this. And I want my own family to go to therapy. We're not having any like major issues, but the point is everybody's going through something.
You don't need to wait. You don't need to wait. I think that's the thing that people forget about therapy. It's not like, oh, Felicia and Teddy are going to therapy, I wonder what's wrong. It's a preemptive thing. It's doing the work beforehand so you don't ever get to that danger zone where you need to do it. It just opens up lines of communication. Can be a beautiful thing. What I like about this with the former president and former first lady is it's using their platform to reach out to people. It'd be easy for them to say, oh, I was the president, she was the first lady, we have no problems. We're going to put on these airs that everything is great because, hey, I held the most powerful position and so did she as the first lady. So no, we can't relate to this. But instead they're opening up saying, we're no different than you from the south side or from the north side, from the east side or the west side of Chicago. We go through the same things. And I think when people can recognize that, when they can hear that, it says, oh, President Obama was doing that?
And why do we think about it differently? Like, we go to the doctor, we get annual checkups and exams and tests. We take care of our body.
Preventative.
Why wouldn't we do that for our mind? Like, individually and as a couple. As a couple, but also as a family. Like, we should all be going. I am
making me want to go to
100%
therapy.
for this. Yes. We should go together, guys.
We
should do it.
We
should do it together.
My friends who
I'd feel bad for the therapist.
Oh gosh! My friends who have gotten married and they've gone to premarital counseling, they have such positive things to say about it too, because it is like scary, like, oh, what's gonna happen? And like a lot of people do it for their religion, and it's like sort of like them evaluating, like if they will marry you, like a priest, if they will marry you, make sure that you're actually good and compatible and things. And so you're like, oh, I hope it's okay. But they said it was like so great. They were like, it was all positive. It was just about getting on the same page with a lot of things too, like talking about your finances, talking about your plans for the future and all things like that. It seems like a really good thing.
And another example, like you said, they were talking about them with different things and different aspects to marriage. We also go to school for everything else, but there's no school for how to be a wife, how to be a husband, how to be a parent. Like, there's no school for that. Like, we should totally be in classes to learn how to be the best version of ourselves in those roles.
It seems like a really good
It's
thing.
also an athlete reference I like to use is when you're on a team, right? And you're practicing against each other every day. Yeah, you're getting better and you're experiencing things, but you really don't know what you have until that practicing team goes out and plays another team. And what I mean by that is it's always you two in the foxhole together, and you fight, you bicker, you do this and that. But maybe go out and get a different perspective. And then when that perspective is allowed, then you can truly see what you have, what you need to work on, what you're doing well. That really helps. So sometimes through a different lens, different perception can really reward the relationship that you're in. I think it's a great thing. So did I lose you guys with the athletic?
No,
I was like, oh, he had to get this.
No, I really like when you do athletic references. I've even started thinking of things in that term.
Yeah, wait till you hear a few more.
Then you'll get the eye roll emoji going on here. Well, it's no secret Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage was not picture perfect. They were married for 11 years before ultimately the relationship ended in divorce. It's since been revealed they only met each other 12 times before they were engaged.
Wow.
Seems like a decent number to me. I don't know.
No.
Well, how long should you wait, I guess the question becomes, before getting getting engaged, or do you sometimes just know immediately?
I'm always an advocate of waiting. Like, I think it's a really good idea to be together for about 2 years at least before you're going to take that step. And I know sometimes when you get older and you've been in relationships before, you just kind of like, you're really open and transparent earlier. But I would always tell everyone to wait as long as you can. But with that being said, I think sometimes you do have an instant connection with someone. And like my partner and I feel like 4 months into it, we were like, yeah, we're in this to win this. Like, we were talking about really like long-term plans too.
Oh,
so
wow.
I think sometimes you know, but it's a good idea to just be together a little bit longer if you can. Like figure out each other's fighting styles, make sure that you're compatible with that, make sure you travel well
girl.
together, lots of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Well, you mentioned the connection thing. Like a lot of people, you could connect to a whole bunch of people out there in the world. But I need to see how you're going to act when death is in the family,
Yes.
or when someone loses their job, or when any kind of issue that could happen if someone's having money problems. Like I need to see how you're going to act when the fire happens, because that's just how life goes.
Yes.
Life gets pretty ugly sometimes, and you need that partner that knows how to get dirty with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know dang well that
Dang well.
my
Dang well.
fiance is TV. You know what expletive I want to put in front of that. I know for certain that my fiance, when she first met me, it wasn't love at first sight.
No?
I didn't walk in the room and she go,
How could she not, Jordan?
Wait,
no,
why do
right?
you say that?
well, because the thing with us was we got to know each other without the pressure of thinking, this is going to be my life partner. We became friends first. I mean, look, we were also in other relationships at the time, but I would never caution anybody to say or put that pressure on, well, I really like this person. That's the one for me in life. If you really like that person, great. Start to pursue things, but let it happen. Let it feel itself out. Once you put that pressure or title on, that's the person for me. Ooh, Felicia walked in that door. Carly walked in that door. That woman's beautiful. She's going to have to work for me because I am instantly attracted. I think you just got to let it happen. But there are those circumstances, right, where you see it and it just, just because everything clicks and you're like, that's my kindred spirit. That's my spirit animal. So I think it's different for everybody. I know for certain, though, she didn't see me and go, I got to have that man.
How long would you
I wore
say?
her down. But I caught her do something illegal, and I said, "Hey, look, you're staying with me." Or
Or
I'm
you
gonna
blackmailed her
Oh
into
my
marriage.
gosh, the truth comes out.
That's the way
What
to
do you
go.
think is the shortest though that you can make that decision? Like,
I think
oh, this
12
is my
times.
person.
I could see 12 times.
12
You
hangs?
really?
I really could. And especially in their culture, it's entirely different, as we all know.
Yeah.
But I think 12 times, depending on how much time you spend there, because you could figure out a lot in those 12 times.
Yeah.
You could be intimate at that point. You could definitely experience multiple situations. You can build that comfort.
Yeah.
You may not have all the answers clearly, but I think you'd have a good idea.
Yeah.
I feel like with arranged marriages, I've always heard that they actually have had a really high success rate because a lot of choice is taken out of it. And so when people have a couple of choices, that does make them happy because they can choose the right thing. But when you're overwhelmed by choices like we are in today's dating climate, sometimes you're like, am I making the right decision? And it makes you question it so much. So I could see why making the decision quick and just being like, I'm in it could be a really good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
we know marriage is a choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a
There you
choice.
go. Chrissy Teigen, we love her here at the show, obviously. And she tweeted a picture of her hubby, John Legend, who was dancing with a woman from a school textbook. So somebody tweeted this picture to her. There it is right there. Chrissy Teigen retweeted it and then said, I feel like we got in a fight, meaning her and John, over this picture 12 years ago, and we weren't even together. So the question I have for you guys is, are we allowed to get upset about something that happened with our partner before we got together with them?
Yes, I'm allowed to be upset.
But not something like this,
Upset at
obviously.
whatever I'd like to be upset at.
Well, that's a trump card every time. Right there. But in all seriousness, like, take the picture out of it because she was doing that in jest.
Yeah.
She's just being funny right there and very open and honest, which made her even more famous than she was prior as a model. But is there certain things that, like, you say, hey, look, that might have been before me, significant other, but I'm still judging, and that's having an impact on our relationship now?
I mean, I guess if they did something illegal or did something like really horrible, you would have to take it into account. But I think in general,
But
we
not being
all
like
have,
a tomcat, promiscuous out there, being a bachelor, none of that stuff.
I don't know. I mean, I just try to push that stuff out of my mind. Like, I don't want to think about my partner with anyone
Don't care
before
to
me.
know.
I know it happened, and he knows that I have a
You're not asking the
relationship
questions.
history. What?
You're not asking the questions.
when we first got together, I feel like we used to talk about our prior relationships, and I was like, let's like not do that. Let's cool
let's
this a little
table
bit.
this.
I don't need to hear all of this as much. I mean, I don't really want to think about it, but at the end of the day, all of those choices and all of those relationships and all of your experiences have brought you to the place that you're in today. And if you're in a happy, healthy relationship today, you just have to take it for what it is. We've all done things that we weren't proud of or don't want to talk about with our
One more time.
relationship.
Bring it home, Mama.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what I'm talking about,
We
right,
agree
Felicia? You see
today.
that?
Yeah.
Did she open your eyes there a little bit?
To what?
So maybe you got to let what happened in the past just be in the past? No, it didn't quite land like we had hoped, huh?
No, I
quite
understand you guys. I hear you.
I guess maybe from my perspective, I know what I used to be. So
Yeah.
because of that, maybe
all
there's
have a
more
past.
leniency. I think, yeah, and that's the beauty of when you find the person, they make you better. And you look back on that in a rear view and say, that's the guy I used to be.
I know.
Thank God for the person that I met now because they've
Yes.
definitely changed my
Yeah.
life. So I love what you said right there, Carly. We'll try and
Thanks.
work
We
on
can
Felicia.
agree.